Hey, what's up guys? I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm Nerd on the Street, and today I am doing something that I've never done on this channel before. I am showing you what's on my desktop. So one of the things that I love about Linux is that Windows or even Mac OS you install once and then you kind of just keep it the same. Like you can change your theme a little bit, but really the setup of the operating system as a whole stays the same. Linux has a lot of different distros and, more importantly, a lot of different desktop environments that you can go into, and that completely changes the experience that you're having under Linux. So when I started this channel, I reinstalled my operating system at least once a month, because I was always hopping from different distributions, different Linux distributions, and I was using a lot of really small distributions. I tend to stick with larger distributions now. I actually had still been switching around about every 6 months for a while. I was switching around. I couldn't decide if I liked Fedora or OpenSUSE or Ubuntu, and then I found one that I think I'm going to be using for quite a while. I've been using it for around 6 months at this point. It's Arch. Now, I am a huge technology enthusiast, but I'm not actually a super Linux guru or anything, so I used to tend to stick with simpler distributions. I stuck with Ubuntu and with Linux Mint and even with OpenSUSE because those are designed to be easy to use, especially like Linux Mint and Ubuntu. They're designed for mass usage by ordinary people, by all different kinds of people. And even though I used to enjoy doing technical things with my computer, I generally like it to be stable enough for me to make videos now, because I've kind of got a schedule going, and you guys expect videos from me regularly. And then, rather than making this week's episode of Nerd on the Street News, I'm sitting here recording this, but, you know, that doesn't really matter right now. Right now what matters is, I have been using Arch, like I said. I'm actually using a spin-off of Arch called Antergos, but it's not really a different distribution. I'm using all the Arch repositories. All Antergos is really just an installer for Arch, and that's exactly what I need, because I am fine with, you know, the people say if you're using Arch you need to be okay with things breaking every now and then and being able to go in and fix things in your system. I'm fine with doing that. It's just I didn't want to mess up the installation itself. I want to start with a clean slate and a stable slate before I have to go and do technical things. So yeah, Antergos is perfect for me. It just builds on all the Arch repositories. It has one of its own repositories, and all that's in that is like the Antergos theming and everything, which is very nice, and you'll see it in a moment. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, I am using Arch right now. I guess another thing that comes with Antergos that I like having is, it's called Pac-Man XG. It is a graphical user interface for the Pac-Man package manager on Arch. And I actually do know how to use Pac-Man. I've got a laptop on the other side of the room. That laptop that I use in Nerd of the Street News, that is just pure Arch. I did not use an installer for that. I think I made a video about installing Arch on that. So I'm using Arch with the main desktop environment on that laptop. And I know how to use Pac-Man, and I know how to build packages from the AUR manually, but it is a pain. It's, you know, I could spend 5 minutes building a package from the AUR, and 5 minutes is about where I would expect it to take, or I could spend 30 seconds to 1 minute installing it in a GUI for Pac-Man. So, you know, I kind of like having the GUI. But at this point I'm rambling again. So I'm using Arch, and I'm using Gnome 3.14, and I really enjoy using it. A lot of people were not happy about Gnome 3 when it came out, because Gnome 2, which, if you don't know what GNOME 2 looks like, it's the main desktop environment now. GNOME 2 was around for a long time, and then GNOME 3 was completely different from GNOME 2. And it's funny because I think this was like a year or two before Windows 8 came out, and then that was just an even bigger change than this, or at least as big of a change as this. But yeah, GNOME 3, like I said, a lot of people didn't like it when it came out, and you can believe me or not, but I was using Fedora on my really old, really crappy laptop at the time, and I upgraded from Fedora 14 to Fedora 15. I did a clean install because I don't like upgrading distros, which is another reason I like Arch, is because you don't have to upgrade it. But yeah, I upgraded to Fedora 15, I installed Fedora 15 on my laptop, and I immediately enjoyed using GNOME 3. And a lot of people said, for some reason, that GNOME 3 was supposed to be more touchscreen friendly than GNOME 2. And I disagree. It seems less touchscreen friendly. But here's the kicker. I'm not using a touchscreen, I'm using a mouse. So I absolutely love GNOME 3. I love the activities menu. I love the theming I have set up. Everything just, it looks great, it acts great on here. I enjoy using it. I'm switching to KDE soon, and I'll talk about that in the installing KDE video, because I will try to make a video for installing KDE Plasma 5. But for now, since I've got this, I've been working on it for like 3 months, and I've got it all fine-tuned, set up exactly how I like it, I thought I would show you before I just dump it all down the drain to switch to KDE, because I'm bored, honestly. Remember when I said, for a while I was using a Hackintosh, and by the time I got all the kinks worked out with a Hackintosh, I installed Windows on it, and then Windows was pretty easy, honestly, to get all the kinks worked out in, and it was working perfectly for like 3 months, and I got bored again and started using Linux actively again. Yeah, I'm bored with GNOME now, so I'm switching to KDE. I can do that because Arch is not tied down to any specific desktop environment. So yeah, the KDE thing is another video. Right now, I'm just going to show you how I have my GNOME desktop environment set up, so hope you enjoy. So here we are on the GNOME desktop, and right off the bat, you can see my desktop background. Obviously, it's very apparent in GNOME 3 because there are no desktop icons, which I'm perfectly fine with, honestly. So you can see that this is the Antergos default desktop background. So also you can see I'm using the Antergos theme for the GNOME shell. So I really like, it makes this top bar look a bit flatter. It gets rid of the rounded edges. It's just, you know, it's a rectangle, and it also affects the theme of the dock over here. I'm using a plugin. I'm using quite a few plugins for GNOME 3, but one of the plugins is called Dash to Dock. So what that does is, if you don't know, this is what the GNOME 3 activities menu looks like, and if I had any windows open, like this is the workspace that I'm recording things in. So this is, you know, these are the windows I'm using, and then your activities menu shows you all your open windows. You can search for applications, and then also you have your dock over here. By default, you only see this dock in the activities menu. You can see there's our show applications thing, and very, very smooth and elegant animation for GNOME 3, and I like that. GNOME 3.14, that stuff was added in. But yeah, I wanted to be able to see the dock on the desktop, so I've got it set up there. Now, if there's an application in the way, it will get out of the way. And then I have it set up so, let's say this application's in the way, but then I go and select this one. Now it comes back, because I'm not using this application, but if I switch back to it, the dock goes away again. So I've got some intelligent hide stuff going on there, and I like that. Yeah, you can see I've got Conky on the desktop. I've spent a bit of time refining that. I started with a script I found on the internet. I got rid of some stuff I didn't really care about, like weather, I think, was originally on there. But I put some stuff on, like this networking stuff I put in myself. And yeah, I use that a lot for rendering. I like to be able to see when I'm using all 8 cores and when it's only using 1 or 2, because sometimes I get bugs in my editing software where it won't use as many cores as I tell it to. So yeah, I've also got hard disk usage, and I've got RAM usage, and I used to have to watch that too, because I used to have 8 gigs of RAM in here, and it would run out when I was editing video sometimes, or it would get close to running out, which is a problem. But, yeah, I recently doubled the amount of RAM in here, so that's not so important anymore, but I kept it there. You can see I've got my uptime, just interesting to look at. Wow, I didn't even realize I had the date on there. I've got the date up at the top here on the top GNOME bar, and you can see what the theme looks like. This is a Numix theme. It might be just the Numix theme. I think it's called Numix Frost. And the Numix team, Numix makes some themes for Android and also for GNOME, and they make several icon themes. I think I'm using the Numix Square icon theme right now for, yeah, icons, but the system theme is Numix Frost. It's developed exclusively for Antergos, so I'm not a huge theme guy. I don't really care about themes that much. Normally I use the default themes for desktop environments, so I was fine with the default GNOME theme, but I do like the Numix theme that comes with Antergos, that otherwise you have to pay for. They've got a deal with Numix where for some reason Antergos gets it for free. So yeah, I do like that. So you can see I've got my calendar here, I've got it set up with my own cloud, so you can see right now all I'm using my own cloud calendar for is reminding me to upload Displaced every week, and it reminds me what episode to upload, because it increments by one every week, and sometimes I forget what episode the website is on. So yeah, over here we've got the standard GNOME top right screen, I don't know what to call it, power menu. It's not really just a power menu, they combined all the menus into one button in GNOME 3 recently. So you've got your sound control, your microphone control, your networking control, you can switch users there or log out, yeah, and then you can power off the computer if you click that, or open up your GNOME Settings here. And in case you were wondering, a lot of this stuff like theming and dash to dock, you do that through the GNOME Tweak tool, which came with Antergos. Just another thing, I could have installed it myself manually, but I liked having it available automatically. So yeah, you can see I'm using Numix Frost, like I said, and it's actually Numix Frost Lite. I am, ooh. That's interesting. There's some other options there that I could pick from. But yeah, I'm using Numix Frost Lite right now. And yeah, you can with the tweak tool, you can do a whole lot. You can enable desktop icons. Here are all the extensions I have. I've got this extension makes it so that when you do Alt-Tab to switch applications, see I've got two Firefox windows open, so the default GNOME switcher would put those two Firefox things together even though they're separate windows, but this one doesn't. I have Dash to Dock turned on, like I told you, and I like that because this really is a dock. Honestly, it's not that big of a deal. If you're on a smaller screen, I could see it being a good thing to have to open up this menu to see all of your open programs and also your favorite programs that you have attached to the dock. But yeah, for a large 2K screen like I have, 1440p screen, it is nice to have that showing all the time. Native window placement is basically normally GNOME 3, if I just went into the activities menu, it would shrink these windows down. But the native window placement basically says try and keep the overview looking as similar to the actual placement on the desktop as possible. So in this case, it's actually keeping the sizes pretty much the same. Places status indicator is this menu here, and this is one of the last ones I added. So you used to have to open up a file manager and click on places you wanted to go. Not that big of a deal, but I like being able to go up here and click on the places menu and just click, oh, I need to go to my videos folder. Places, videos, there we go. I also have a removable drive menu. So normally you can go to the bottom of the screen, go over here to the removable devices menu and eject things there. I always forget that that's there, so I always opened up my file manager when I didn't need to, just to eject things. So even though, yeah, you could just put your mouse at the bottom of the screen here, and honestly, I don't know why it's so hard for me to get, because it's so easy to do, just bring your mouse to the bottom of the screen. Yeah, there is a plugin that will add an eject menu to the top right. I think it looks a bit nicer than having to do this whenever I want to eject, like a flash drive. I use flash drives fairly often just for bringing things around the computers in my room or my office here, so yeah, although recently I've shifted away from that and towards OwnCloud. System monitor is this thing in the system tray. It shows my CPU usage and my RAM usage. Since I have Conky, I don't really need to use that either, but you know, this looks like it fits in really nice, those indicators there. So I recently added that again. I figured, you know, why not? It looks cool. And in case Conky ever turns off for some reason, or if I don't know. Conky works just fine. I don't know why I have this stuff down here. It just looks cool. And then, yeah, user themes allows you to use themes. So yeah, you can see the rest of my stuff there. You can see I've got Conky and OwnCloud start up by default. You can customize the clock at the top bar. I have it showing the date, and I do not have it showing seconds in the time, because I'll just sit there and stare at it for long periods of time if it does that. But yeah, I've got week numbers for the year showing in the calendar. And yeah, keyboard shortcuts. You guys can go and check out GNOME Tweak Tool yourself. You probably noticed I am using Thunar for the file manager. This is for a couple of reasons. One reason is it's very easy to show and hide hidden files. You can just, you know, do show hidden files, or you can do Control-H. That functionality has been added. I don't know when it was added, but it is in the GNOME file manager now. If I just open up files, this is the GNOME file manager, and I do like that the GNOME file manager does not have a real title bar. It's like got a half title bar there. I actually do like the design of the GNOME file manager. The main reason I switched to Thunar is because by default, the system was opening up files in programs that I didn't want to use. Like, let's say I wanted to open something with Inkscape, but it was opening with Firefox instead, like SVG files. It always wants to open it in Firefox, but it would not in Inkscape. So in files, you can go and right-click something and say open with Inkscape, but you have to do that every time. You have to go into the open with and click that. And if you click on other application, you can open it with something else once, but then you have to do it every single time you want to open that file with that application. So in Thunar, it's super easy to set default applications. You can right-click, click open with, other application, and then just click whatever application you want here and check this box that says uses default for this kind of file. Super easy to do. Super easy. Like, see, if I open up this SVG file, it opens up in image viewer, GNOME image viewer. That's not what I want. So I can right click, open with, Inkscape, open, and it takes a minute to load up Inkscape, so sorry about that. But yeah, once it opens, you can see there's the thumbnail from one of my videos from the gaming channel. Now every time I go and open that, it will open in Inkscape. As you can see, it's now loading Inkscape again because I just closed it. So yeah, Thunar, first of all, I like Thunar because it integrates with the icon theme I have really well. You can see that Thunar is using Numix icons, whereas Files is using GNOME standard icons. So Thunar actually does better with custom theming than Files does. In addition to that, super easy in Thunar to set default applications. That's really the only reason why I'm using it over GNOME Files. But yeah, I am using it over GNOME Files. So yeah, that's nice. You might be wondering the default applications thing in the GNOME settings, but that only lets you set default applications for these 6 items. So yeah, like for instance, SVG files. I don't want every photo that is on my system to open in Inkscape, but I do want all SVG files to open in Inkscape. It doesn't even give me Inkscape as an option there. So yeah, that's an example of how this box is limited, and that is where Thunar comes in handy. How long have I been going? About 12 minutes. So yeah, I really, there's not a whole lot to show here. You guys can see what Pac-Man XG looks like. This is just, it's a part of, as you can see, it's a part of Antergos. It's also, I think Manjaro is its main thing, but all these different distros use Pac-Man XG, or all these different, I guess they're distros. They're not just Linux distros, they're Arch distros, because they're all, they all just install Arch for you. I think Manjaro tweaks Arch a bit more. Antergos really sticks with the just basic Arch other than what you tell it to install. So yeah, I like that. I have customized Pac-Man XG. I'm using drop-down menus because I thought that the newer version with the side pop-out menu was annoying. As you can see, this is the first thing in Pac-Man. I've got no hide window checked because I thought that the new sidebar box thing was annoying. Because when I had to type in my password for AUR packages, I would have to open up the main window like this anyway, because it wouldn't let me type in the sidebar. So yeah, that's that. You guys can see Caden live. I don't usually make videos about video making because that's kind of selling my own skills out. But this is the video editor I use. I full screen it. It's a little messed up because I was rendering some stuff earlier. But yeah, here's my setup. So yeah, you can see Caden Live, even though it's a KDE application, integrates really well with the GNOME desktop. It looks really nice, and those Numix icons are working in here too, because these are, yeah, not the default GNOME icons or KDE icons. They are the Numix icons. I really do like how KDE looks under GNOME. How Caden Live looks under GNOME. I recently ran Caden Live under KDE, and I actually almost prefer it under GNOME, because just the flat, like, it really fits in well with the whole flat texture and everything, even though, like I said, it's a KDE application. Yeah, don't know what else to say, really. I guess that's all. That wasn't quite a bit. That was quite a bit. Oh, you can see I'm uploading a video there. Yeah, I really have grown fond of this desktop. Not sure why I'm deciding to switch to KDE. It's just because I get bored, and KDE 5 is the big hot thing now, and it's just reaching that stable point where I do want stable things. I'm willing to try cutting edge things, but they need to be sort of stable, and KDE 5 is at that sort of stable point where most people still aren't using it, so I can still get a little bit of an early jump on it, but you know, I'm not going to be the only guy on the face of the planet using it. I can find help online if I need help online. So yeah, I'm excited to try out KDE 5.2, which just came out like 3 days ago. Excited to try that out. I think I'll have to reinstall to do it properly because I tried just installing it from Pac-Man, and it looks like, or from that, you know, Pac-Man XG, I tried just installing KDE Plasma 5. It looks like crap, and the graphics performance was horrible. All the desktop effects were super slow, which obviously you can see everything is nice and smooth in GNOME. So yeah, that was not a good deal happening there. So just in case, I am going to, basically I didn't want to mess up my GNOME install because I had it so nice. So now that I've recorded what my GNOME install looks like and I have a record of it for the future, I can look back and remember the GNOME install with the great theme and all my tweaks all set up here. Now I can safely go and trash this GNOME install in the process of getting KDE to work perfectly as well. So, yeah, like I said, just a fun video. I don't normally enjoy doing what's on my device videos, but this isn't really about the applications on my device. This is more about just the, you know, the setup I have for my desktop, the Conky, the plugins on the top bar, the dash to dock. Just some little bits of GNOME 3 that I have come to love. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next video, or in a future video. Don't want to make any promises in terms of chronological orders or anything, but I will see you guys in a future video with KDE Plasma Desktop 5. Looking forward to it because I always love KDE, but yeah, I love GNOME as well. Love the new desktop environments. That's all I will talk about for now. I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm the Runner of the Street, and I will see you guys later. See ya.